Hello besties, welcome back to my channel and welcome to, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what day of Bookmas it is. I have lost track at this point and you'll see it in the title, so that's all that matters. I mean, I'll know when I go and check and put it in the title, but as of right now, I have no clue. But we're getting down there, I know that, because it is almost Christmas and it's just crazy, like where has the time gone? And I'm also going to be fully transparent with you. This was supposed to be another part of my Read It or Unhaul It series. I think this would have been like part 5, part 6. I don't know, we're getting up there in parts for that as well. I really was just not feeling basically a wheel chooses my reads for a week because it is December. I want to take a little bit of a break. I want to read what I want, and I feel like December is the perfect time for that. Like, I might want to reread a favorite book of mine. I have some books on my TBR that I have been eyeing up for like at least a month that I really want to read before the end of the year. So this has become a mood reading vlog rather than a Read It or Unhaul It reading vlog. If you guys are new to my channel and haven't seen a reading vlog before, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I will pick out a book, I will film me reading it, like my reactions. It is all spoiler free, of course, and at the end of the book, I will give you my full in-depth thoughts and overall review. Or I don't know review per se, but my thoughts on it, what I rated it. And I am so excited for the first book I'm going to pick up. I'm going with Light Breakers. This was my November book of the month pick, so I've had it since like the first week of November, and I've wanted to read it since I picked it for my book of the month before it ever even came in the mail, and I just have not gotten a chance to read it yet. So I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to do a mood reading vlog, and this is going to be number 1 because I'm in the mood to read it. What can I say? I think this is supposed to be like a general fiction book, but it does have elements of kind of like sci-fi and I'm sure a love story because it is about a married couple who is then like given the opportunity to time travel. So the husband, I think he had a daughter in his first marriage, so I think he returns to when his daughter was alive because his daughter has now passed away. A heart-achingly moving novel. Okay. The mysteries of human connection and explores how to love in a world where time is both a healer and a thief. You know, that just sounds incredible to me. I love a book with like fantasy or sci-fi elements to it, but I have been loving just like general fiction lately as well, and a book that is going to break my heart. And I feel like this book could definitely break my heart because it's about a married couple who are like going and reliving their pasts, and I'm just like, that would literally break my heart if my husband and I had the opportunity to time travel and he chose to like go back in the past instead of like living the present with me. I don't know. That would kill me, honestly. But I'm really intrigued by these characters' stories and what is going to happen with their marriage and everything. So I'm going to start reading this, and I will, of course, let you know my thoughts along the way. I am on page 46 and it's giving me Don't Worry Darling vibes, which I'm fine with because I love that movie, but it's feeling very dystopian, which I also love. So I'm not saying any of this to complain. I'm just pointing out how I'm feeling, I guess, and I'm liking it. I started Light Breakers last night. I'm now on page 105 and about a third way through the book, and I am really enjoying it so far. Like I said, it kind of gives me Don't Worry Darling vibes. It kind of gives me Dark Matter by Blake Crouch vibes, and it also gives me Soma vibes, which that one might be a little bit more niche. That is a video game, and my husband and I, well, my husband played it and I watched him play it probably like 3 years ago at this point, but we both really enjoyed it. but it just like has kind of all of those sci-fi aspects rolled into it. And this book is so smart. Like, this author, she must be a genius, because literally she is writing about this insane science stuff that like I can't even wrap my brain around. I am not a sciencey person, but she is just like writing it so well, and I am like trying to read it and keep up, but I'm just like, whoa. I'm more of like an Allie Hazelwood STEM person, not this intense and like insane theories. But this book is about Maya and Noah. They are a married couple and they both have different paths. Like, Maya is an artist and Noah is a physicist. Noah gets invited to leave Los Angeles to go to Texas to this lab where they are basically going to look into like time travel of a sort, but it's really, really weird. It's more so about like, oh gosh, I don't even know like the right terminology for it, but like your conscience getting stored and like how to revisit memories and that conscience as though they're like real. I'm not going to be able to explain this like exactly how it should be, because again, like, I'm not a sciencey person. I'm not really confused by the science, but I just like don't have a grasp on what they're all talking about in this book. But anyways, Noah takes that job, so him and Maya move from Los Angeles to Texas, and he is working on this project. It is revisiting a lot of his own memories because he was previously married and he had a child. His child died, then he got divorced, and it is really, really hard for him to like go back and revisit those memories because his child died when she was 3 years old, and it was just like terrible, obviously. And he is always depressed about that, but like being able to relive those moments with this project is kind of helping him, but also kind of not. I just cannot even imagine. Like, I hope I never ever have to live through that. But seeing him talk about that, like, it's so real. Like, you're reading about a real person going through this, which so many people do go through child loss, and it just like rips your heart out reading Noah's chapters, because his daughter is just like what's always on his mind. Like, he tries to be there and be present with his wife Maya, but like also he wants to revisit his past. Not that he doesn't love Maya, he very regularly says like Maya brought light back into his life, which is so sweet. There are actually so many beautiful quotes in this book. I feel like I could turn to like any given page and there would be a beautiful quote on it, whether it's about loss or love or grief. Like, anything, there is going to be a beautiful quote about it. And then Maya, she was an artist. She never saw herself with a physicist, obviously, because like arts and science are very, very different. But she also had a past. She had a very long-term boyfriend and things did not end well. So she's always like thinks about him sometimes and about the life they could have had and why things ended. So obviously Maya and Noah are like happy together, but they're still thinking about their pasts and, you know, the what ifs of their past. What if Noah's daughter hadn't died? What if Maya and her ex-boyfriend hadn't broke up? You know, I am loving this writing. I don't know if this author has written anything else. The Ensemble. Okay, I might have to look into that. So it does very much read like literary fiction with just like a sci-fi subplot almost, because that is Noah's career. It's just like so crazy to think about too. Like, are there actually experiments like this going on in real life that we commoners just don't even know about? I am definitely really enjoying it. It is a little heavy, obviously, because it does deal with a lot of grief. And obviously it's a little bit of a heavier read just because I don't know all this science talk. But I'm really liking it, you guys, and I'm really, really glad I decided to pick this up. I am just enjoying my time with it so much, like a nice, slow, cozy morning. So I'm gonna keep checking away at this. I'm about to read the last page. I just finished Lightbreakers and I absolutely loved it. This was such an incredible story. It was really so beautiful. It just teaches like a lot of life lessons, how you can be dealing with so much, and especially like grief. It is very, very grief focused because of what Noah has gone through, obviously, with his daughter passing away. But it teaches you such an important lesson that like grief will always be there, but the love will always be there as well. And like if you are grieving, that just means that love was there. I don't know how to describe it because the author describes it in such a beautiful way that like I can't even get the words out to describe it. But basically like you're grieving so much because there was so much love there for that person. Like if you didn't love that person, if you didn't love that life, you wouldn't be grieving the loss of it, you know? And it just teaches you like how to live with grief, which once again, I have not experienced like an immense amount of grief like the characters in this book. I do still think it was so beautiful. I'm gonna go with a 4-star rating. I really loved it. I loved the whole like time traveling sci-fi aspect too. Such a beautiful message in a book. I really, really loved Noah's character. Maya's I did like, but I didn't like her as much of Noah, so I felt toward the end of the book when I was reading Maya's chapters, I just was not as interested. I was getting a bit bored with them because her chapters felt a lot more repetitive, whereas Noah, like, he was still continuously working through his grief as well as like working on this project. So I was just like fascinated by that and really, really invested in his storyline. Again, I still do like Maya. She was kind of trying to like find her life purpose because Noah is obviously so invested in his career and trying to do this time travel to like get his daughter's life back, basically. And Maya just feels like since she's gotten married, all she really is like Noah's wife and not her own person. So she is still trying to work and discover who she is without Noah. So I do think that's a really, really important storyline as well. But again, it just did feel like I was reading the same thing over and over again with her chapters. So it was taking me out a little bit. That is seriously like my only complaint for this book though, is that it slowed down a little bit at the end and I didn't love Maya's character as much as the others. I would definitely recommend this. It is definitely emotional. I was definitely tearing up quite a few times, and I am so glad I finally read this. And the next book I decided I am in the mood for is An Ember in the Forest by Emily Gray. I was really loving the whole sci-fi part of Lightbreakers. Oh my gosh, one more thing I need to mention is the title, like tie-in to the book. Not what I was expecting whatsoever, and it was so sweet. Okay, that's all. I'm gonna stop talking about Lightbreakers. Back to An Ember in the Forest. Since I was loving the sci-fi so much in that, I am really just like in a fantasy mood, and also I think it's been like over a week since I've read a fantasy book, and I do love my fantasy books. This one is more so romantic-y. It says Arya is trapped, locked away in isolation in a strange forest without memories of who she is or where she came from. Arya fights to make sense of the small world around her. With only her name written on a piece of paper and a wolf for company, the fight for freedom feels bleak as loneliness creeps in. Kaysen is haunted. The prestige general of Landora, Kaysen Alvar, is haunted by nightmares about a girl in the woods he doesn't know and can never save. These visions chase him from sleep, haunting his waking world until he feels a pull leading deep into the woods outside the safety of the city walls. A rebellion is brewing. Ancient enemies are stirring, with whispers of another war surfacing. The fate of the world hangs in the balance of Kaysen and Arya fight to untangle the hidden web of secrets about who they are. Arya's stolen memories are the key to unlocking who she is meant to be. The secrets of the system force Kaysen to face the dark truth about the world and which side he will choose to fight on. I think that this sounds really, really intriguing. And like I said, I just looked up my December TBR and I was like, yep, this is what I'm in the mood for, which is the whole point of this mood reading vlog. So I will start this in a little bit and then be back with a little update. Alright guys, it is quite a few days later, I'm not even gonna lie. And I am back with a slightly unfortunate reading update. As you guys know and saw, I started An Ember in the Forest. I was reading it on Kindle Unlimited because if a book is on Kindle Unlimited, I'm probably gonna read it on my Kindle. And I got over 50% through. I think I got to 51 or 52% according to my Kindle. I'm on chapter 32 of the book, page 291, and I am deciding to DNF it. However, I do think this will be a soft DNF. I do think I'll pick this back up or maybe just like read a few chapters here and there because I do want to finish the book. I have just been very, very bored for the first 50% of the book. I feel like it was very, very repetitive. Nothing was really happening. The only thing that was happening is like everything was getting repeated. Everything was basically saying the same. The characters were doing the same exact thing every chapter, having the same exact conversations every chapter, and nothing really changed until like 45% of the way through the book. But I just feel like I was really, really trying to push through that first 50%, and I was getting a bit slumpy. I was not wanting to pick up and read my book at all, which is obviously not a good thing. So obviously I'm just like not in the mood for this right now, so it wouldn't make sense to keep reading it for a mood reading vlog. So I am going to soft DNF this. I'm not going to pick it back up for this video at all, but maybe I will pick it up sometime later this month or early next month, or like I said, just here and there throughout the next few weeks so I can finish it, because I do really, really want to finish it. Especially now that it seems something is happening, like there is a new development to the story. I think that's really, really good, because almost 300 pages of the same thing happening over and over and over. Like 300 pages could be a full book in itself, you know? So for nothing to really happen in those 300 pages, I don't think is the best writing. Like instead of being an almost 600 page book, this could probably be like a 400 page book, or maybe even less than that in my own opinion. But this is by an indie author. This is an indie published book, so I do want to give it like its full shot. Obviously, if I still don't like it after I finish it, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna leave like my honest rating, but I do think I want to finish it, just not right now. I am still in a romantasy mood though, especially because An Ember in the Forest didn't really hit. It is very slow burn romantasy, like literally no romance has happened in it yet, which is fine, but again, for being 300 pages in and nothing to happen, yeah. But I decided I'm going to start We Who Will Die by Stacia Stark. This is, I think, a vampire romantasy. It says, survive the arena, save my brothers, kill the emperor. 2 vampires stand between me and my mission. One who shattered my heart, one who torments me at court. Let the games begin. Also, I did not intend on picking up another Book of the Month book. This just happens to be what I'm in the mood for. This video is not sponsored by Book of the Month whatsoever. I pay with my own money for my Book of the Month subscription. I wish this was sponsored. That would be a dream come true. Anyone from Book of the Month is watching this and wants to sponsor me, let me know. This edition is really, really stunning. Like it has these pretty sprayed edges, and then on the inside, it actually has a colored map, which I think is really, really cool. I've never seen a Book of the Month book like that. I think it's just because this was like a deluxe edition you could get. This is a new series set in an ancient Roman world ruled by merciless vampires. It says life in the perilous Thorn District is a constant battle for Arvel and her younger brothers, and the vampires vampire standing on her doorstep is about to turn their world upside down. Faced with an unthinkable choice, Arvel makes a magically binding vow to do the impossible, kill the Emperor, an ancient vampire created by the god Umbros. But first she must enter the Sundering, an arena where only the fastest, strongest, and deadliest survive long enough to be selected for the Emperor's elite guard. That's all I'm gonna read because I feel like the little summary of books can give away a lot, but I think this sounds so interesting. And like I said, I am still in the mood for romantasy. This is giving me like Hunger Games and Powerless vibes. So I guess let's get reading and hope that this romantasy hits a little harder than the other one. Okay, it is quite a few hours later. Don't mind that. Also, don't mind this giant pimple on my face that I popped. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But I'm especially not when it comes to popping my pimples. I have been reading We Who Will Die just on and off throughout the day, like between chores and such. And I'm about a third way, which honestly, I'm pretty pleased with myself for getting that far. I am on page 138. I think there's about 400 or a little over 400 pages in the book, so we are doing pretty good, and it's keeping me really, really entertained. It has been so fast-paced, and obviously a fast-paced book is going to do a better job like holding my attention and keeping me entertained. And I love how, you know, like I read that little summary to you before I started it. Within the first chapter, like that is already happening. So it's not like you're building up to that for 50 to 100 pages. And then what happens in the summary finally happens in the book. Like, no, it happened right away. And then after that, we got some more like background on the characters and some more world building. But I just liked how it got straight to the point. Like that just grabbed my attention and basically held onto it, because then I was like, oh my gosh, I want to know more about these characters. I want to know about this world they're living in. I want to know like the why to everything. So I really, really liked that. And we're also like getting some flashback scenes, because also I read back here, 2 vampires stand between me and my mission, one who shattered my heart and then one who torments me at court. So we're getting like flashbacks of our main character Arvel with this vampire who broke her heart, like memories she has with him and their relationship. And it is so cute, and I really, really like Arvel. I don't know if YouTube is gonna like demonetize me for saying this word, but she is so badass. She is an older sister just trying to take care of her 2 little brothers, and like in doing so, she's awesome. She gives me Katniss Everdeen vibes, which I think that's probably just the case because this whole, oh gosh, what is it called? Like the sand something? Sundering. The Sundering just gives me like Hunger Games vibes, even though maybe it's just like Roman gladiator. I have no idea. I have no idea what the gladiators did or what that whole thing was. So maybe it's just like she's a gladiator, but I am loving that it's reminding me of the Hunger Games, because who doesn't love the Hunger Games? So I'm really loving that. I will say though, it has slowed down for me a little bit since she like started at the Sundering, just because now that she's in the Sundering and like in the competition, I guess, to, what is it called? Oh yes, to be selected for the Emperor's Guard. It is just like a little bit repetitive since she's basically just like fighting a different person in every single chapter, it feels like. But I will say now we are getting a little bit more into the plot, I guess, and we're learning more lore, I guess you could say. There was also a pretty big reveal, oh gosh, I don't know, probably around like page 100 that I did not see coming. And maybe I would have seen it coming if I read like the whole summary. But that's why I don't like reading the whole summary of a book, is because I feel like it can just give away too much sometimes. Okay, I lost my train of thought a little bit because my husband distracted me, because my brother wants my husband to go over to his house even though my nephew is sick with the flu. And my husband has a very compromised immune system, so I'm like, maybe don't go over there. And it turned into a whole discussion, and I lost my train of thought. Oh, I think I was talking about how there was like a slight plot twist that I did not really see coming that much, like at that point in the book. So that definitely caught me off guard. And then I was like, yep, I need to know what's gonna happen after this. And now I think we're getting to a pretty juicy part of the sundering. I don't know. I feel like I need to call it something else because I'm not gonna remember to keep calling it that. But I don't want to call it like the Hunger Games because that's not what this is. I'll just say the competition. Things are definitely, I think, about to get juicy in the competition, like juicier than they have been. So I'm really excited to see what happens and then like what is going to happen after the competition. So that is really my only update as of right now. I'm overall enjoying it, even though I do think we hit kind of like a slow point. I'm also doing a buddy read of this one with my friend Caitlin, so I think it'll be so fun to see what each of us think. I don't know, it's just really, really fun to get like different perspectives on the book, and we each like usually pick up different things and then compare them, so I love doing buddy reads with her. But I hope to get another big chunk of it done tomorrow, and of course I will see you back with another update when I do pick up and read some more. Alright guys, I'm gonna try to keep this update like short and sweet because honestly I haven't read too much where like I even really need to give an update about what's happening. I just need to give an update on my thoughts, and I'm currently sick. I woke up this morning with a terrible sore throat and a cough, and I am just like adding symptoms as the day goes on. Like now I have extreme fatigue, my back is killing me, and I have a headache. So, oh, and I almost have a fever. So I've been trying to take it easy today while still like doing my job, and I have been reading for a bit. I think last night I ended on chapter 14 and I've gotten to chapter 21 so far today. So I've read almost 100 pages so far today, which I think is pretty good. And I just want to say, like, this book is very, very action-packed, which I like a book with lots of action that like keeps me on the edge of my seat. But I don't feel like there's enough plot and like story within all the action. Like, we just get action after action after action, and we don't dive into like our main character and other characters around her and like the actual story we are not getting into because it's just all action, and I'm not liking that. And also, there are so many characters and I cannot keep them all straight because they're not like differentiated enough within the book. So it's like I feel like I am just reading the same character over and over and over again, even though like it's all different characters, but I feel like their names aren't even different enough, and there's so many male characters and I'm just like, who is who? Because I can't keep up at this point. It just feels like there are a million characters and all I really know is like our female main character and then the male main character. Like, that is it, but there's so many other characters' names constantly being thrown in, and I'm like, I don't even know who that is because we weren't like, there was no character development for them, there was no backstory for them, it was just like thrown in there and like sprinkled in who they were, but then you're just like expected to retain that information of who they were, and it's like, I feel like I need a glossary with each of these characters' names and who they are within the world, and like their relationship with our female main character, because right now it is just too confusing. So am I having that enjoyable of a time with it right now? Not really. I will say it is definitely reminding me of Throne of Glass, like when Selena is in the whole, I cannot remember what the competition is called in Throne of Glass for the life of me right now, but basically she's competing to be the king's assassin. That is literally what this feels like right now, but like with vampires ruling the world instead. So I do like that because I love Throne of Glass and I love like the whole competition aspect, but there's just way too much action and not enough actual plot, you know? So I'm really hoping it gets better. I have Oh gosh. I'm over halfway, I know that. So we'll see how much more I read today. Honestly, I just feel like laying down and doing nothing because I do not feel good at all. So yeah, we'll see how much more I read. But I did just want to like update you guys on my thoughts so far in the last 100 pages or so because I was liking it. But then I thought like, okay, the competition will kind of like fizzle out. No, it has not, and it's just too action-packed for me. Maybe that's just like a personal opinion, but I honestly feel like there's no actual story happening within the book right now other than she's in the competition. So I'm a little bit disappointed. It has been a very, very long and very, very bad last few days. Not even gonna sugarcoat it. It has honestly been some of the worst, like physically and mentally draining days for me. One, because I am sick with the flu. So I feel like total crap. I feel like I got hit by a bus. I'm exhausted. And then we got some very, very, very bad news right before Christmas. So really, really rough. And honestly, we were just like totally blindsided by something. And I think this is gonna be quite a journey for us, what our life is gonna look like for these next few months. So I have just been dealing with that. I wasn't really reading much, but I did end up finishing We Will Who Die, or I can't even talk. The flu is impacting my brain. We Who Will Die. I will talk about this in a second. I'm not gonna go into detail about what I have going on in my life right now. I know I talked in another Bookmas video how I like to be transparent and I like to be just more human and personable with you guys, but honestly what I'm going through right now is pretty personal, and I don't feel like, first of all, I don't really feel like it's my place to talk about it. I just like don't even want to think about it. I am still like so angry over what happened and like in shock over what happened. Like again, me and my husband were both like blindsided by what happened. So I just like, this is probably really, really unhealthy coping, but I just like don't even want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. I just wish that I could erase it from my memory, from my mind, that it even happened. I wish we could go back in time and change things. Unfortunately, we can't, and I am like doing my best to just keep pushing forward, but it has been really, really hard on me mentally and emotionally. My mental health, not great. What I'm looking like right now is an accurate representation of what my mental health also feels like, okay? So I just ask for your continued support. I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna keep, like I said, I'm gonna keep trying to push through. I'm gonna keep trying to live my life normally, even though it feels like my whole life got the rug pulled from underneath it. Okay, enough of my sad sap story. Let's talk about We Who Will Die. And honestly, I don't even want to talk about this because I did not like it. I really liked the beginning. I liked how it was all set up, but oh my gosh, it got so boring and so repetitive. And I already mentioned how there's like so many characters, and I could not become attached to any of the characters whatsoever because like I don't even know who is who. There is no character growth and development with any single character in this book. There is hardly any romance in the book, which, like, I am fine if a fantasy book doesn't have a romance in it, but I'm pretty sure Book of the Month marketed this as a romantasy, so obviously I'm going in with expectations that there's going to be a lot of romance and fantasy in the book. Again, I don't need romance in my book. The Cruel Prince is one of my favorite series ever, and that is like 90% fantasy and 10% romance. So I don't need that, but I would like to, you know, go in with the right expectations, because I was expecting a lot more romance, and there's like a few scenes out of over a 400-page book, which also I feel like this book could have been literally like 250 pages, because there is just so much dialogue that's just like saying a whole lot of nothing and just like talking in a circle, you know, like nothing is happening out of the dialogue. This is not like a plot driven and character driven book, which I'm really, really disappointed about. Once again, there are so many characters, like so many, and all of their names are like similar, and you never get a good description of each character, and you never get a good backstory of each character. Basically, their name is just thrown in there, and you're expected to just know who they are and what their role is in the book, and there will be mention of this character constantly, but I'm just like, who the heck even is this character? So characters are not fleshed out whatsoever, and I feel like this book is trying to be so high stakes, like with the whole competition literally taking up 75 to 80% of the book. Like, it is trying to be so high stakes, but then I read the last page and I'm like, that's it. Like, that's what we've come to after this whole train wreck. Like, not even giving a good ending. And not that it's not like satisfying or anything, but also this is the first book in what's going to be a series. Guess who is not continuing this series, because this was not good, and I just like do not feel the need to read another book and waste more of my time on this world and these characters. Like, the ending is literally like, so give us nothing. Just very, very boring, very surface level characters. I don't even know if I can say surface level, because literally it feels like some of them you only get the name for and nothing else. Nothing else. And there's like at least 20 characters' names that are thrown around in every single chapter, and it's like, no. I liked probably like the first 20-ish% of the book I was enjoying, because it was a lot about our main character Arvel and like her family and her brothers, and why it's so important that she competes in this competition, and we did get like a little bit of her backstory, but then it's just the competition and that's all, and then you kind of stop seeing her character development and her backstory. You see little flashbacks, but it's like, it's not enough in my opinion. I am only giving this a 2-star rating. I would unfortunately not recommend. And that is where this video of my mood reading vlog is coming to an end. I apologize, it got a little chaotic because, well, I got the flu, and then also my life turned upside down. So I'm kind of sorry, like, me reading We Who Will Die has probably been like kind of sporadic and probably not the best and easiest to follow. My mind is literally like, it's kind of like numb, but it's also like ping, 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 ping at the same time. You know, does that make sense? But I do hope you guys were able to enjoy my video overall. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. Please go watch any of my other videos. Like I said, your continued support will help me out immensely right now. So thank you so much in advance, and thank you to my current supporters. I will be back at you with another video very, very soon. Bye.